My name is Julie Fei-Fan Balzer, and one of the questions I get asked most often is about blade depth. Now here's the thing, we all know that you should do a test cut, and if you want to watch my video on doing test cuts, you can see that. And previously we've talked about pressure settings, and you can watch the video on doing pressure settings. But today it is time to finally talk about blade depth. So I thought we could get started by actually looking at the blades themselves. So I'm simply going to remove the blade cover so that you can see the actual size of, that's the standard blade, and then this is the deep cut blade. And if you can see the difference in the size, it's kind of like if you think about your small scissors, your detail scissors, and then your big scissors. And what would you cut with your tiny detail scissors versus what would you cut with your big thick scissors, okay? So that's sort of when you're trying to decide whether it's deep cut blade or standard blade time. So for instance, I would cut felt with a deep cut blade because I would use my big scissors on it, but I would cut fabric, right, with my small scissors or my standard blade. So now let's put these back together and show you a little trick that's going to help you think about blade depth. So I currently have my blade set to a 12, which is the deepest setting of the standard blade, and it doesn't look like a lot of blade is sticking out. But if I hold a standard piece of scrapbook paper up to it, I think you can see that the blade is actually extending quite a ways beyond the height of the paper, and that's a key to know that it's going to now cut through your mat. So if I dial this down so that it actually is set more to around where we would cut a paper, like 5, then when I hold the paper up, I think you can see it barely extends beyond the paper, hardly at all. So that's a good setting to start at. And you can do this with any material you want. Is simply hold it up and see how much the blade extends beyond. The blade extends too much beyond that one, so then I would go ahead and dial it down so that the blade barely extends beyond it. So that's blade depth, or how far extended your blade is. So once I'm sure that I have my depth correct, that's when I start playing around with pressure, because pressure really depends on the item that you're cutting. So fabric or wood veneer, something that's fibrous or woody, is going to take a little more pressure to adjust. I encourage you not to keep cranking that blade depth up, because that's how you're going to cut through your mat. Instead, adjust your blade to make sure that it's just beyond whatever you're cutting, and then play around with the pressure until you get a perfect cut. So thanks so much for watching. For more tips, tricks, and tutorials, be sure to visit my website at balzerdesigns.typepad.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And of course, don't forget about the ScanNCut website at ScanNCut.com.